What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another brand new league racing video here today. We're back for round number 2 of EML F1 here today for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Now, if you haven't seen the first video, I recommend you go check that one out. Certainly a interesting race. In the end, didn't really go to plan as we crashed out on the penultimate lap after contact with one of the Williams. So yeah, round 1 didn't exactly go to plan. We got a big fat 0 next to our name there. So yeah, not ideal obviously, but it's round 1 of the season, still a long way to go. And Bahrain does seem to be a pretty strong track for me, particularly in race trim. So hopefully I can make the most of the pace that I've shown here before. And well, maybe we can try and win this one. Can't speak too soon, obviously, as you know, some other people might have some things to say about that. But anyway, away we go for qualifying, heading out right at the start of the session. I've gone for the softer tyre selection as well, so I'm going to have 4 sets of softs during this qualifying session to just give myself that extra set if I invalidate or make a mistake or, you know, any stupid thing like that. Quick look at the calendar there. As you can see, we've done Australia, now we're at Bahrain, then Azerbaijan next week, so that'll be a really interesting one to see how all of these guys go with no assists around Baku. But anyway, we'll worry about that when race day comes. But getting back on with the action here for our very first lap of qualifying, we're going to come across the line for a 124.827. It puts us provisionally P2 right behind Young Power. Not a real great lap, to be honest. If anything, it's a pretty bloody terrible lap. But anyway, come back in, new set of softs on, and we're going out again with about 9 minutes to go. On our second lap of the session here, about a 10th up through the middle sector. So once again, this is not a great improvement. Not to the extent that I would like anyway. Obviously, if anyone tuned into my TNF1 live stream around here, you will know I did a 24.2 for a pole position. So I know I can go at least 4 tenths faster than what we did there on the 24.6. Lars retired from the session there as well while I was rambling on about all that. I think he dropped it somewhere around the start of Sector 2, so that was a bit unfortunate. And I think he left the session just after that, so yeah, not too sure what all that's about. But anyway, let's ride on board for our fastest lap of the session and see what it's like. Alright, there we go, through the final corner. We're going to improve by only a couple of hundredths, 124.593, and I can confidently say I am not happy with that. That was absolutely awful. Oh man, and we end up P3 in the end as well. Our teammate Venom did improve to a 24.3, I think, from memory. We'll double check that just in a few seconds, but yeah, as a matter of fact, he did 24.396. So a very nice lap from our teammate there. Csl in the Williams just managing to pip us for P2 at the end as well by basically a hundredth of a second. Young Power in 4th. Our fellow Leonis member in Andreas in P5. Lars in P6 on the leaderboard, but he has left the session So I think his AI is just going to be driving around. Then you've got Neo, Harry, Csl Elite, and that disappeared too quick for me to read it. Wonderful. Anyway, getting ready for the start of the race now. Just checking out the strategy. I think it's fairly straightforward around here. A one-stop, soft to hard. Can be a bit of a stretch at the end of the session, but I think you should still make it without too many dramas. So, yeah, hopefully we can make this work quite nicely. So, ready to roll here for the formation lap. Our teammate Venom's on pole position, Csl P2, ourselves P3, FRL Young Power P4, and our fellow Leonis member in Andreas in P5 right behind us. And we've also got a third LR man on the grid in Harry, our Premier Series teammate. I think he's down in 8th or something. So, pretty good qualifying efforts for the three Leonis boys in here. 3rd, 5th and 8th. So, not too bad. We got 3 of us in the top 10. So, we'll see what we can make of this. But obviously this isn't the Premier Series. We're not in this purely for teams bragging rights. We're in here for bragging rights of our own. So, yeah, we'll see if we can get that here today, shall we? As we reform back on the grid, ready to get round number 2 of EML F1 underway here under the lights in Bahrain. 5 red lights. And away we go. They were held for absolutely ever. A dismal start, it must be said there. Csl, though, with a pretty bad start. Young Power, though, with a blinding start. Down the inside, we're going to try and look around the outside. We get squeezed out a little bit there. Didn't really have anywhere to go. Andreas there on our right side as well. Had to make sure we didn't make contact with our own teammate there. That would have looked good. But anyway, so far so good. We've managed to keep our nose clean. We remain in P4. Young Power with that mega start that was already up into P2 and trying to chase down our teammate for the lead of this race. A very nice start from the Renault driver there. Further behind, as you can see, Andreas and Csl Elite were going at it there. I think Csl Elite was just ahead at one point, but Andreas did manage to get him back. So very nice from our fellow team member there. But yeah, that's basically it for the first lap. So far so good. Across the line, still in P4, Venom fastest lap, 30.9. That's pretty decent for a first lap. I've seen better, but yeah, still good. Anyway, at this point, one big thing I will say is I severely underestimated just how bad the dirty air was, because running around behind one car sometimes is bad enough, but when you're running around behind 3 of them and we're all nose to tail, it is extremely bad. The car normally in clean air felt really nice on the softs at the early stages of a race, but in the dirty air it did not feel very nice at all. But anyway, on to lap 5 into turn 1. We tried to have a go at Csl there, didn't quite work. He had to can't get the words out, sorry. He had to try and avoid Young Power there, as well as Young Power and ourselves get all crossed up there on the exit of that right-hander. We're going to try and line up the Renault for a dive at the bottom of the hill here, down the inside, and that is job done, is it? Let's just make sure we get off the corner, and it is. So up into P3 now, Csl up into P2, and Young Power down 2 spots so far in this, just in this lap. Excuse me, not in this race, but anyway. And a few moments after that, actually, I don't think it was on the back straight, might have been on the front straight, I'm not sure, but he actually let Andreas go through as well. So now we've got our fellow teammate right behind us, or team member right behind us, I should say, as we get very sideways through the right-left. I guess you could call that a kind of chicane there. So, yeah, at this point I was pretty interested in making a pit stop and getting off these tyres, as they felt absolutely horrendous. I could also tell that everybody around me was struggling for traction because we were all still so even. So yeah, anyway, on to the end of lap 7. Csl decides it's time for a set of hard tyres. So do we. but crucially, Venom actually stayed out. Now, he did look like he was actually going to come in the pits, and that would have been disastrous for us. But he basically sold a dummy and went back out onto the racetrack. So, yeah, he is going to go an extra lap longer. And I reckon that is probably going to hurt him quite significantly, to be fair. So, yeah, we'll see exactly where he is when we come back around to finish this lap. He does have clean air ahead of him, obviously. But those soft tyres are going to be absolutely shot, and he will not be enjoying them very much whatsoever. So yeah, we'll see if we can make a bit of inroads into our teammates' effective lead. Just trying to stick within the DRS of Csl here as well, as he is pretty quick, it must be said, straight out of the pit lane here. He almost got out of that 1 second window. I think it was almost 9/10 there at one stage, but we've just about stayed with him. Onto the end of lap 8, the gap still about 7/8, so the Williams driver is pushing pretty hard, and we're sticking with him just about. But here we go along the front straight, and Venom has been left behind. Look at where he is. He's down in effective, that's effective P4. So from leading the race by staying out 1 lap longer, he's not even on the podium anymore. So yeah, that's a bit interesting. So he's come out right behind our fellow team member in Andreas. So be interesting to see if he can get by him and start to make inroads into myself and Csl. Meanwhile, speaking of Csl and myself, we're working our way through Maze in the Haas, who disconnected there. One of the worst times to do that when the leaders are trying to overtake you. But anyway, on the front straight, Rich overtake DRS. Down the inside into turn 1. Well, it wasn't really down the inside. We were already past by the time we got there, but no matter. Into the lead, or the effective lead, I should say, of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Now at this point, if you look up the top left of your screen there, Andreas is 1.5 seconds behind, so he does not have DRS, and he's effective P3 in this Grand Prix. So at the moment, it is a bit of a 2-car breakaway between myself and Csl. And at this stage, I was thinking, okay, now I'm going to put the hammer down because I've got some clean air. I know what the car can do. I know what it feels like because I've been here before. And yeah, just really trying to stretch the legs a bit and see if I could get away, break DRS, and yeah, kind of just control the race from there. On to lap 13, down the inside of TTG Honey Badger there, who started on the hard, so he's going to run a few laps longer. We get the move done into turn 1, up into P4 on track now, and crucially what that has done has put a car in between myself and Csl, and Csl is now 1.3 seconds back. He has now lost DRS to us, and at this point I was thinking, okay, this is my chance to really put the hammer down and get away. This is where I'm going to win the race. And as you can see, Csl just being held up by Honey Badger there massively. Couldn't even get by on the back straight, which I thought was rather interesting. I thought he would have got by him pretty quickly, but he had to sit behind him the whole lap. And yeah, that has held him up quite significantly. The gap up to 1.7 seconds there just a moment ago. So we're almost 2 seconds clear of our main rival in this race. Unfortunately though, in the process of doing that, we have burnt quite a bit, or well, almost all of our ERS actually. So we're only running on about 20% at the moment. We do have quite a bit of fuel in our back pocket though, so we're not completely defenseless if he was able to launch an attack, but looking at the gap there, I don't think that is something that we're really going to have to worry about all too much. The gap now up to almost 3.5 seconds to Csl in the Williams, and I must say the car was just absolutely on rails. I wish I could drive a car like this every week. Yeah, it was just, the pace was absolutely on fire. And onto lap 19, we take back the lead, or we take the lead on track for the first time of this Bahrain Grand Prix, I should say, as one of the Alfa Romeos, who was yet to stop, has made a mistake on the exit of turn 2-3 there and has gone off into the wall. So a bit unfortunate for him. But anyway, Cutting on to lap 21, Andreas has left the session. I think that's down to internet connection. But look at the other end of the circuit. Our teammate Venom has crashed, and now a virtual safety car has come out. Now, I will admit, that actually gave me a heart attack when I saw that pop up, because I actually thought that was a full course safety car. And if one of them come out, I was not going to be very happy. Let's put it that way. But luckily it was only a virtual, so we don't have to worry about the field being bunched back up. And no sooner had the VSC come out, it very quickly was over with. Venom's rather destroyed Mercedes got removed from the racetrack, and we're back racing once again. On to lap 24. And yeah, at this stage, the race was fairly calm. The battle for P2 was starting to heat up a little bit, as Young Power slowly but surely has been making inroads into M Short in the battle for P2, but I don't think he's going to get there in time. In saying that, it's half a second, so he could definitely have a go on the final lap, so we'll keep an eye on that and see if those positions change at all. But something else worth mentioning, our Premier Series teammate Harry has gotten himself up into P4, so very nice job from our fellow team man there, our Premier Series teammate, doing wonders in his very first race in this league. I think he is a reserve in this league. I think quite a few of the people racing here at Bahrain were actually reserves. I think there were half a dozen or something, so yeah, they might get full-time seats if they're lucky in the future, who knows. But anyway, for us, we've made up for the mistakes at Australia, as we're going to come across the line with a flat left rear and win the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Yes! Brilliant! Well done!
Took quite a while, huh?
Did take a bit of a while, but well done. Immense pressure, well
Worth
done, mate.
the wait.
Alright, so there we go guys, that's been today's video. EML F1 round number 2, the Bahrain Grand Prix. Pretty damn good race, that one. Once we got the lead there, just after the pit stops, never really looked in doubt. The pace was on fire, and yeah, just really enjoyed that one myself. Championship standings updated, we're tied for P4, or P3 actually, with our teammate in Venom's there, so pretty interesting considering both of us have only finished one race. But you know, anyway, can't argue with that. So yeah, tied for P3 in the championship. We can definitely you know, fight for the championship victory. I have no doubt that we can do that. But anyway, we'll see what happens over the next few races. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's video nonetheless. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until the next one, I'll see you all next time.